Oku no hime ni korokuna baka ga arimashita. Video game o kakunen suru tabi ni ita hito. Sutachi wa kawa no shite shirarete iru akuma no gemu o miaosu. Kenseiden kare wa akira menagaru. Ika no tame no kare wa idana redwa desu. SushiRobo.
This is Kenseiden, a game released for the Sega Master System in Really? (1988). It was a side-scrolling hack-and-slash action RPG game developed and released by Sega. Kenseiden meaning Sword Saint Legend or Legend of the Sword Master. The best analogy I've seen to describe this game is imagine Castlevania set in feudal Japan. But it's not an exact copy or clone of the Castlevania title. You play as a samurai named Hayato, locked into a battle with warlocks and demons in 16th century Japan. The warlocks have gained control of 5 sacred scrolls, along with a sword belonging to the Dragon Lord. Our hero, Hayato, with determination in his heart and dragon's blood coursing through his veins, must traverse the Japanese countryside and stop the warlocks and kill their leader, Oda Nobunaga. There were quite a few different iterations of Kenseiden depending on which country you lived in. In the Japanese release, Hayato was portrayed as a blonde, while in the US he was given black hair. But his biggest alteration was in Korea, as his entire sprite was changed to look like a Korean warrior, and also changing the setting from a map of Japan to a map of Korea. Kenseiden has been ultimately met with very positive reviews, with its hardest criticism coming from IGN's Levi Buchanan stating, "Master System junkies should still seek it out and give it a go, but there are indeed better games for the console that deserve your renewed attention." Well, that's all I have to say about story and development. So, all we have to do now is Gemu Arsuru. Quick question for you. Have you ever wondered what Ninja Gaiden would be like if Ryo Hayabusa had brain damage? This is what it would be like. It's less of the notoriously Nintendo hard game, or even Castlevania, and more like Karate Kid. Sadly, this game is very underwhelming. And as you play it, there are no redeeming qualities. As soon as you hit right on the D-pad, you instantly regret your decision. As I progress through this review, I'll explain in more detail of why. Just like many games, this one is a side-scroller. I want to say beat 'em up, but it's less of that, like let's say Kung Fu Master on the arcade, which came out 4 years prior to Kenseiden. Meaning they had plenty of time to develop and refine this genre, and Kung Fu Master is still superior. Hayato has an easy job though. Move left to right, and periodically go upstairs and through doors. Hayato can slash oncoming enemies with his katana, which you can upgrade after you defeat a level boss. Health is indicated with a life bar, and depending on what attack or enemy that hits you, the amount of health taken differs. Speaking of taking damage, Hayato will flinch back every time he is hit, which will screw you over if you're overwhelmed by enemies. Lives can be replenished if you acquire a wooden doll that may drop after an enemy kill. To sum up gameplay, it's standard and straightforward. And as far as I was able to get, which wasn't very far, nothing strayed into convoluted territory. Meh is the only way I can sum up the levels. Yet this is probably Kenseiden's strongest suit, but that's not saying a lot. They're well designed around Hayato's very limited movements, as if they almost knew whoever was in charge of programming Hayato's animations was gonna fuck it up. So I thank the level designer for attempting to corral such a wild horse of movement and controls. Environment? Well, looks like feudal Japan at least. But I highly doubt most of the color in Japan revolves strongly around a cold color palette. Every so often a little splotch of color like red will hit the canvas to break up the mostly blue, black, and very pale greens. I hate these enemies, and not because of their types. In fact, they have a nice roster of enemies, but they are so cheap, and depending on what type they are, can spawn at the most awful times. Any enemy that is aerial or has a jumping animation will be your biggest threat. To be more specific, the fire demon, which in the instruction manual is shown as one skull, but in reality spawns into 5 or 6 individual skulls that fly at you in formation and hit you constantly. Remember when I mentioned that Hayato will flinch back, a la Simon Belmont from Castlevania? This is the reason why it sucks. Due to his flinch, Hayato is stunned and can be bounced into another attack from one of the 6 skulls comprising the fire demon, which will result in Hayato being juggled around till near death. Also, watch out for those bouncing bundles of bullshit called Puppet Masters. They too can catch you off guard and put you in a cycle of damage. Bosses are a main piece of the Kenseiden storyline. That being said, you'll come across 8 of them spanning across 16 levels. Bosses are very much like the basic enemies, except they come with more HP and have more bullshit cheap attacks. The Wheel of Fire Warlock is a great example. As his ass bounces around in the air, you're given maybe 3 shots to deal damage when he comes closer to the ground for you to jump and slash him. Most of the boss fight will comprise of him flying around the screen out of reach while he dumps fireballs down on you. After a while, you're so annoyed and bored that you just give up and walk away with a, hey, at least I tried feeling. This is where I get in depth with Kenseiden. Understand that I'm not against difficult games. I enjoy challenge. One of my favorite titles is Ninja Gaiden, and though it's difficult, the challenge is warranted. Okay, maybe I get pissed no matter what. If I die because I made a mistake, or if I die because of poor game design. The latter doesn't just piss me off, but infuriates me to the point I bash it during a review. It just sucks. Kenseiden has multiple reasons why it's difficult, and none of them are fair. Not a single death that I experienced did I go, oh, my fault. Most deaths are a byproduct of either being juggled by an enemy, falling in a pit from poor jumping movement, or taking huge amounts of damage because controls are a dumpster fire, which I'll be covering shortly. Graphics are okay. Moving on. I've come across it all. Slow reaction, tight movement, loose movement, even clunky button layout. But I've never once come across controls that forget their own damn input. It seems that when quick reaction and movement is crucial, the controls now decide that left and right are now duck, and it plants you straight into the ground. On top of that, the controls are so tight you feel like the buttons are cemented in place. And Hayato's jump is so pathetic, I question my prior statement that this game was a copy of Ninja Gaiden. Music isn't terrible, and I'm not entirely displeased by it. That too goes for sound effects. Unfortunately, they didn't make the death sound effect very exciting, despite the fact that you'll be hearing it the most often during gameplay. What a kerosene-fueled dumpster fire! I have a problem understanding why any other reviewer rated this game higher than a 3. Just play Ninja Gaiden or Castlevania instead. Just avoid this game, it's for your health. This game! It's not just this game. What am I doing? Here I am poorly reviewing what I think is an obscure title. Here I am thinking I'm being avant-garde by choosing these games. But am I? No! I'm a hack! I'm a sham! Dare I say, pretentious? Just games that have been reviewed by more popular, more talented content creators than myself. My channel's slipping. When's the last time you've seen a SushiRobo plays? More like pointless plays. Yeah, that's what I should call it. There's one thing I can do though. Just one thing to end this cycle of mediocrity. I must commit seppuku. Oni! Alright, Oni. I'm going to disembowel myself. And when I fall to my knees, I'm gonna need you to decapitate me, okay? Okay. All right. Do it! Do it! Koroshite!